Hey everybody, welcome back to Box Office Bets, betting on the Oscars. I'm Brian Ortega. We have Thom Cunningham with us as our normal spot. Hello, Thom. How was your weekend?
It was good. A lot of movies. I think the movie theater, I think the people that work there are starting to get a little weirded out. They keep seeing me, and it's just me. Like, I'm not there with, like,
Right, of
friends
course.
or fans. It's just me. So, yeah. But, no, doing well. A lot of screenings. How about you?
I'm good. I actually haven't made it to the movies this weekend because we have a lot of stuff going on in Vegas. We have 2 hotels opening like within a week of each other. I went to
That's
both of
right.
those, so that was cool. But I think I'm going to get to Wonka, which I think I was reminded by you that it's out.
It is
And
out. It's
quick
great.
thoughts. What did you think of Wonka?
Way better than I thought. Not as good as the first. Held its own, and I would argue was one of the better movies of the year. I'm big on creativity, Brian, and I know it's based off an adapted, character already.
Right.
But it was really its own project. It felt like, and it was really, really fun to watch. So I recommend it. Go check it out.
For sure. I mean, even if it's adapted, like the one with Johnny Depp, I was not a fan of, but the
Yeah,
one
I
with
didn't like
Gene
that.
Wilder, I was. So you can't always get it right. It's pretty hard to
And I
do it
will say, I
sometimes.
also saw the Iron Claw.
I'm so jealous of that.
So if you want to be depressed for 90 straight minutes, that's
Oh, I
that's where
love it.
that's what you do. So yeah, go see.
Well,
It's
I
a
was
great movie
depressed.
though.
I was depressed for 3.5 hours when I saw Killers of the Flower Moon. So if
Great
I could
movie.
do that, I could do the Iron Claw. So today we are going to be talking about something that is much less depressing, and that is the critically acclaimed box office titan that is Barbie. Greta
Yes.
Gerwig's adaptation of the doll, I suppose, kind of unique, which we'll talk about later about whether it's an adapted or an original screenplay, which we'll talk about the debate later. But this is the Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling film, really Margot Robbie, to be honest. But definitely a scene stealer is Ryan Gosling. So just quick recap for everybody to know, Barbie is sort of a fantasy comedy, a little bit of drama thrown in there, and it really peppers you with a couple like social sort of issues, but sort of dressed up in this wonderful Barbie world, which is actually really great. So I actually really enjoyed Barbie when I saw it. I have seen it twice because the first time I saw it was during Barbenheimer, where I was still thinking about the atomic bomb that was just dropped literally and figuratively by Christopher Nolan.
I'm
So
stunned you didn't wear your Barbieheimer shirt. I
you
was
know what?
actually looking forward to that.
Yeah. Oh man, I totally should have did it. It's okay. Maybe we'll do it another time, like when it doesn't make sense. But anyways, that's an awesome shirt. But no, it was a great experience when I went to go see Barbie. I actually was thinking about it driving today. How awesome it was that happened. I remember being at the movies and seeing just whole rows of women just dressed up in this sort of Barbie getup, and I thought it was awesome because even though if you may not like the color pink, you may not like this, but it's good for movies that women in droves are going back to the movies. So, what'd you think of the movie,
Yeah, I go
Thom?
back to the marketing point of this, and you on your wonderful podcast that you do in Vegas, you
Thank
went
you.
to different bars and got Barbie drinks that they were serving at these Vegas bars, and they were really cool, visually stunning drinks, but they helped market the movie, and it was just one of literally thousands throughout the country,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the marketing for this movie was superb, and the movie
Yeah.
held its own by me. It's going to get a Best Picture nomination. We'll get into all that in a little bit. It's a heavyweight, quite frankly,
Yeah.
and the marketing, I think, put people back in the theaters, and that's something that the Academy is, I think, really eyeing. What
Yeah.
movies got people to go to the theaters? And I would argue, even with Oppenheimer, Barbie did that better than any movie. Now, I'm not saying Barbie's better than Oppenheimer, but I think Barbie did as good of a job as any movie getting people to the movie theaters this year. So I think the Academy will commend them for that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's one thing that the Academy, the movie industry in general, has been missing, where their film has entered the zeitgeist, where everybody is, knows about it, talks about it, sort of water cooler talk. The
Taking
good old days.
pictures,
Oh yeah,
at the theater
exactly.
with cutouts. When was the last time you did that?
No, it's super super rare. And I mean, I know they had the Barbie Dream House, and the thing that I did, which was at Circo, which was the Barbie Dream Hotel, which is just genius marketing, just all
Yep.
around. I think really helped. I mean, Oppenheimer didn't really do a lot of marketing in terms of that because you can't really do that. But they had a lot of ad buys for a lot of television. They were doing a lot of spots. You couldn't miss it. And yeah, I think it was just sort of a combination of both things. So let's get into the movie itself. So the movie is fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it when I went to go see it. I love hearing now that all of the Greta Gerwig was on 60 Minutes talking about the film and sort of her process. Same thing with Margot Robbie, who did Actors on Actors, that they really wanted this to feel like a 1950s sort of set where all the sets were done in a soundstage, and it sort of felt that way. That very sort of what's that look that I always forget his name. Wes Anderson uses in his movies. That sort of that pastel color, but just all pink.
And I think that kind of goes to the production design of this movie, which I would argue it's probably going to win. Now I did just come off the heels of Wonka, and so now I'm riding Wonka for now on the production design. But I think you mentioned before we hopped on that Barbie is probably going to pick up a lot of secondary awards. Based on what you just said, I think production design would be one that it could really win, and I wouldn't be surprised if it opened with minus odds if it gets nominated.
Sure. So let's start at the top. So let's start with Best Picture. So right now,
heavyweights.
I would put it. I like to work top down, just get it out of the way. So right now, Oppenheimer's still the favorite, minus 165, and Barbie is in the mix. They're 14-1. Do you think this is possibly going to be? We've already kind of talked about it. Possibly going to be one of the top 10 movies nominated once it comes around.
Yes, I do. I have it ranked 10th right now, and there's a lot more movies to go that will surely be ranked higher than Barbie. I would imagine things like American Fiction and Poor Things, Maestro. Sure. But just because these are just my rankings, the personal rankings, not what I think is going to get nominated. I will be stunned if Barbie doesn't get nominated for Best Picture. Do I take 14-1 though, Brian? No, because I don't think it's going to win.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Just because I don't think it's going to be beating. I think the Academy's gotten past the make you feel good era of the Academy, where for a couple of years we're coming out of COVID and we wanted to feel good, so we nominated and won Coda, and then also what came after Coda. I always forget who won after.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yep,
and even Nomadland. For that was a real emotionally triggered movie in a year that a lot of independent films got nominated because of the pandemic.
Right, of course. So I think this is a year that a more serious quote unquote movie wins. Something like Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, something like that. I think is a better option in terms of what's going to win. So I don't think it's going to win Best Picture, but I think it'll be in the conversation for sure. And it's really hard to leave off the highest grossing movie of the year in your top 10 list. So it's also what you've mentioned earlier that this is actually kind of interesting because I think we can kind of tie this in. It's gotten a lot of nominations and a lot of the lead-up awards. So the Golden Globes, the Critics' Choice. And how do you think this either gains or stops momentum for like the actor and actress races? So things like supporting actor and best actress.
Yeah, so 129 is the current tally of nominations this movie has. That is insane. And you look through all of them, and it's, a lot of the songs, which we'll get to, but Margot Robbie is littered everywhere. Greta Gerwig for director, littered everywhere. Yeah. Ryan Gosling, littered everywhere. So what's going to happen is results are obviously going to be coming out for many of these award shows, but the two that you hit on were the Critics' Choice and the Golden Globes. Those are pretty big ones. Now, personally, I don't think either award show, let's just say Greta Gerwig wins Best Director, I don't think suddenly she's going to become the favorite for Best Director at the Academies. It's not copy-paste whatever Golden Globes do, the Academy does. That's not the case. So I do think that these results will shift odds. One thing I would say, betting these markets as these award shows are revealing results, don't get fooled with the odds. Go with your gut and go with what you think is the best option. The award show you are going to want to circle, and I know you say this all the time, Brian, is the SAGs.
Yeah.
That is the one that you want to circle, and that is the one where the results actually, to a degree, do matter for a lot of these heavyweight categories, Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Supporters as well. So, yeah, as these award shows release results for Best Director, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, don't be fooled by the results and the odds that move with them. Keep an eye on the SAGs, though. That would be the one that you definitely want to watch.
Yeah, definitely the guilds. So you have basically the three main, the three really big ones. So you have the Producers Guild, the Directors Guild, and the SAG Awards. The SAG Awards are really the only ones that are televised, so that's really the one that we all see. But it's very much the indicator of who's going to win a lot of the actor awards. So, for example, like last year, Jamie Lee Curtis and Angela Bassett were really neck and neck for a long period of time, and a lot of people felt that Angela Bassett was going to win Best Supporting Actress, but and she was actually the favorite going into the SAGs, but a lot of sort of the narrative was Jamie Lee Curtis could win this, and she also has the narrative of being from a Hollywood family, kind of being due, and then she surprisingly won the SAGs, and her numbers didn't flip too much. They did flip favorites, but she was still plus money when it came to Oscar night, and the narrative still was Angela Bassett was going to win. Jamie Lee Curtis obviously takes home the golden statue, and that was all due to her winning the SAGs. I think I did a spot, and I think in the last 10 years, I think 10 out of 10 years, whoever won for Best Supporting Actress at the SAGs ended up winning Best Actress. So that is definitely correlated, these awards.
I remember you saying that last year, and then Jamie Lee Curtis won. And you and I both still think Stephanie Hughes should have won
100%.
Best Supporting Actress. She was the best supporting actress last year, just based on she got robbed like FSU. We don't have to go there, though.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do also want to call out the example with Jessica Chastain and Troy Kotsur a few years ago. Jessica Chastain, eyes of Tammy Faye, was plus 500 entering the SAGs. We took her. She won the SAG, flipped to minus 250, Brian. Troy Kotsur was the underdog to the kid from Power of the Dog.
That's right.
His name.
He's
got like 3 names in his name. I forget what his name is.
Win.
Yeah, he was minus 250 entering the SAGs to win. And Troy Kotsur was plus 350. We took Kotsur. Kotsur wins the SAG. Suddenly he's the favorite now at minus 250. So as you just mentioned, for the heavyweight categories, but specifically the performance categories, the actors and actresses, that's the one you want to highlight. And that's the one that you want to get your value bets in prior to the award show starting. Because once that award show starts and ends, those books are flipping the odds no matter, where they are. It could be, again, Chastain plus 500 to minus 250 overnight. That's a huge shift. So that would definitely be one you want to circle on your calendar.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and then also like the Producers Guild and the Directors Guild. Directors Guild's important for obviously the director category. And then Producers Guild tends to show you who's going to win Best Picture. I think only 2 times in the last, 10 years that there has been a difference between the Producers Guild winner and the Academy Awards winner. I forget one of them, but the other one that I always remember will be La La Land, where it actually lost to Moonlight, which I'm still salty about it, but that's just me. But either way, those are important, guild awards to keep an eye on. But again, by the time we get to those award shows, you kind of should have your bets in. So
exactly.
Anyways, moving on to the Best Actress category, because I don't believe there's going to be a Best Actor category, Best Actor nominee coming out of Barbie. So let's go to Best Actress. So let's talk about Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie is a producer on Barbie. She actually had a lot to do with keeping the release date, keeping her being in the film. Actually, it wasn't really up to her. It was actually up to Greta Gerwig, who said you were always going to be Barbie, which I think was the right choice. So anyways, so right now she sits at 14-1. Remember that the Best Actress category only takes 5 nominees, not 10. So it's a much more narrow runway for a lot of these actresses, with a lot of great female performances this year. So she's currently at 14-1. And just to give everybody sort of a reminder, Lily Gladstone is the current odds-on favorite at plus 100, or even money for those of you that care about how to say even money.
Now, some books actually have Emma Stone as the favorite right now.
Very close, yes.
So it's very close, and I find it fascinating because Poor Things hasn't been released widely yet.
You're right.
It's very difficult for me to take such short odds on anyone whose film hasn't come out yet, because history will tell you that doesn't mean anything. I mean, we sit here multiple times and bring up the example. 13 Lives was Best Picture favorite for months, and it didn't even get nominated by the time Oscars rolled around. So, for me, I think Margot Robbie at 14-1 is excellent value, considering all the nominations she's getting right now. We mentioned the film's got 129. She's everywhere. So I think 14-1, I think she gets nominated. I think it's okay to take, but just for value, Brian, because I think Lily Gladstone was better than her. And you and I both have seen Killers of the Flower Moon. I think we both can say safely that her odds are better to take than Margot Robbie right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, Margot Robbie is a very established person with the Academy. She hasn't been, I believe she hasn't been nominated yet. I think this would be her first nomination. And again, it's a much deeper role. It's a much deeper character than we actually think when we think of the movie Barbie. And you always have to think about, does the Academy, this happens a lot with the Golden Globes, how much does the Academy want Margot Robbie there? A lot, probably. They want her walking the red carpet. They want her there. So if we had to list the top 5 nominees right now, and we can differ on these, let's kind of go with the ones we are pretty sure that are going to be nominated. Lily Gladstone, definitely in. Emma Stone, definitely in. All right, now I think this is where it gets a little bit tricky now.
To be a toss-up here.
Which is kind of fun, because having three possibles is kind of fun. So who would you put in for your last three?
I think the third safest pick is Margot Robbie because of Barbie and everything. They're also not going to nominate Ryan Gosling and not nominate Margot Robbie. That would literally be a slap in the face to the whole premise of the movie Barbie. Is if Ryan Gosling gets a nomination and Margot Robbie doesn't, they would face such backlash for that.
Be interesting. That's so funny.
So I think she's safe at 3 because again, a lot of these performances haven't come out yet. If I'm going hypothetical here, give me Carey Mulligan for Maestro. I think she will end up getting in. But you know what? I haven't seen her perform. So I would go with Annette Bening and Greta Lee and Tiana Taylor, who's getting 40-1 odds right now for 1001. So it's tough for me to say if I would go Carey Mulligan or Sandra Huller from Anatomy of a Fall. Got to review some of these movies still. But if I'm going off what I've seen, Margot Robbie's safe. Then it's okay. Greta Lee, maybe. Tiana Taylor, maybe. Annette Bening, probably, but still, maybe. So I think Margot Robbie is a lock for nomination.
Yeah, I think Margot Robbie's in. But also, I guess if Barbie gets nominated, she's a producer, so she's going to go to the Academy and the awards anyways. But just using my big brain. But
it's her. If again, like
it's very different.
She played Barbie, and so do we think Ryan Gosling's getting a nomination? Right?
Yes.
Just yes or no?
Yes.
Me too. So I think Margot Robbie is a lock right now for a top 5 spot.
Yeah, and I think Carey Mulligan, I think a lot of critics really enjoyed her performance in Maestro. And then Fantasia Barrio, which again, The Color Purple and Maestro haven't come out yet. I feel like they want somebody of color in the top 5. I guess Lily Gladstone is actually Native American because they always face this sort of issue. And The Color Purple, with all the hype that it's gotten, I've heard it's actually kind of losing some steam I've
heard that too.
It's just losing steam. It's just so late. I think they have to stop trying to release these movies during Christmas.
Yeah,
I think it's not helping anybody. But I think let's just talk about it really quick. Greta Lee.
Yeah.
Past lives. You think she sneaks in?
Maybe, but I still think the deserving performer of all these names is Annette Bening for Naiad. Mm-hmm. I think she might get in because that was a performance of a lifetime. The physical toll for a woman of her age and what she did in that performance was absolutely riveting. And this might be one of the last opportunities for Annette Bening too, to get back there into a nomination spot. I love Greta Lee. Again, for me, Past Lives as a whole was a bit simple, like Air. It was it was great. It was just not over the top. And I think for me, Annette Bening's performance in Naiad was over the top, and it was absolutely brilliant. So I would actually go with Annette Bening over Greta Lee, personally. That's just me.
So right now, who are we putting money on to win the Best Actress category?
Oh, God. If I'm going off of what I've seen so far, I have to take Lily Gladstone at plus value. I haven't seen Poor Things yet. And right now it's between those two for me. If I'm looking for value, give me Margot Robbie or give me Annette Bening. Or Tiana Taylor, 40-1.
That's right. I think Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone are going to fight it out all through award season because if it's this tight, I think it's going to stay this tight because Emma Stone's going to come out. The movie's going to come out. People are going to love it. It was at plus 130 last time I checked it, which was a couple days ago. So that means more screenings have gone out. Obviously, I think it came out in like on the East Coast and the West Coast. I haven't seen it yet either. So it's going to be tight. I would take also Lily Gladstone because everybody loves a first timer as an ingenue.
Do you take plus 125 for Lily Gladstone with, I believe, Bet 365, and then go back to DraftKings and take Emma Stone plus 110, and then have two. You see what I'm saying? And then that way, maybe you don't make 3 digits, but at least you make a digit off of one market. Is that a betting strategy you would recommend? Okay.
Yeah, I would recommend if you can get Lily Gladstone at plus 110, plus, I don't know if it's going to get up to plus 120 anymore. Maybe
125 with Bet 365. So maybe you go there, and then
I would go there at this point. I don't think she's going to reach $2 at this point. We've passed that. But Emma Stone, I think, has a little bit more variance. So, but I would go now. I would go now on Emma Stone because I think it's only going to get shorter.
And can I just ask you, you saw 1001, right?
Yes, I did.
And what did you like Tiana Taylor?
No, I thought she was fantastic. I really enjoyed her performance of how
she won't win
it is.
Best Actress, but a nomination, is that okay with you, or is that too far out?
That. I'm all right with that. Just because, again, she's also part of a film that sort of is talking to the bigger sort of societal issues that we run into every day, which I think the Academy loves, nominating stuff like that or voting for people like that, just because they like to say that they're trying to solve an issue by putting these movies out there. But I think that'd be okay. I just think the thing that's working against her is that movie came out a lot earlier in the year, which isn't, a detriment. It's just with all these powerhouse performances at the end of the year, it's tough. Yeah. So, all right, Best Actress, we'll wrap it up, and we'll move on to Best Supporting Actor, which this is going to be the fun category, I think, of the season. So right now, people are always, wondering Ryan Gosling. For the longest time on DraftKings, he was for Best Actor. Those of us who kind of follow movies know that he probably wasn't going to be nominated in Best Actor just because it is certainly he's a scene stealer, but definitely more of a supporting role. He's right now at 4-1. I think this is one of the highest places he's been since the odds came out. So he's right now at plus 4-1. Sorry, he's 4-1, not plus 4-1. And Robert Downey Jr. is currently minus 165. So just, do we think he's going to get nominated for one? Which the answer was yes. And do we think he has a chance to win? And do you like value at plus 400?
Well, I know why you think this is going to be fun, Kat, because you are getting into it with Twitter trolls over Charles Melton.
Yeah.
So I guess if we ever get to May, December, we can read off some angry tweets there. And we invented the new, American fraction odds. I like it, Brian. Plus 4-1. So for me, I think the 4-1 odds on Gosling is fine in taking a value ticket on you. I think you want to have a ticket on him on Oscars night.
Yeah.
And I think 4-1 is as good as you're going to get. So I think when Oscars night rolls around, you look down, you say, what do I have? And you have Ryan Gosling for Best Supporting Actor at 4-1. I think you're okay with that. Mm-hmm. Downey Jr.'s gone. Minus 165. We've said many times, take him at minus 125. That's gone. He's minus 165. So you can't take Downey Jr. unless you want to pay. But I think Bobby De Niro here is the sleeper. And for me, I would have a ticket on all top 3 right now. So for me, I think Gosling gets nominated. Well, if you don't have a ticket on Downey, it's too late. So you might as well go with De Niro, and then you might as well go with Gosling. But I think all 3 are perfect takes right now. And outside of Glenn Howerton as a long shot, those would be my recommended plays. So give me Gosling at Best Supporting Actor 4-1.
Yeah, I would have no problem having a Ryan Gosling ticket. He lost for Best Actor for La La Land, which I believe was the same year that Dallas Buyers Club came out, I believe. I can't remember which year that he lost, but it was an amazing performance by the lead actor. I can't remember what year. So that's 2017 was the Oscars. The movie came out in 2016. I have to go back and check. But look at my brain working. But
I like that. Watching you do math.
I think he has a shot for sure. But I agree. Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon was really transcendent. It was just it reminded you that Robert De Niro is one of the best living actors that we have. That he can go off and make, bad grandpa whatever he wants, and then come back and just throwing heaters. Plus 350. I would take that all day. Just the way that he just spun his web in that film, just the evilness that he was without actually yelling or doing anything like that. It was amazing. But Robert Downey Jr. I think maybe isn't as bulletproof as you might think. I think that, he's really good in it. I think he has a huge narrative. He's very, very charismatic on the trail, but I think De Niro could take it, and I do think Ryan Gosling could sneak up because he's going to have a
Yeah.
lot of heat behind him, and
Yep.
everybody's going to want the Gosling train
Yeah,
there.
I think what Gosling has is like this wave of public push, like just
Exactly.
pushing him like into the front. And I do think when it's all said and done, I think Downey Jr. is going to win. And what I think the Academy does a good job of doing is they kind of like they listen to the noise, but they don't always let it dictate their decisions.
Mm-hmm.
If they did, there wouldn't be a fiasco when Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor a few years ago.
Exactly,
because that was terrible. That whole thing was awful.
Yeah,
so
it was so funny that they switched up the category order.
Yeah,
so they can have the moment. It's just like, oh, Anthony Hopkins.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, they're like,
there.
They were not going to let him talk. We're not going to say anything. We're out of here.
No, he wasn't.
That
even
was
there.
like that's like when a comedian bombs and he just runs off set and just into his car and that's it. Yeah. So I honestly think Downey Jr. is going to be the respectable winner here. Not only because his performance I think was the best. Like Gosling there will be fun. I think De Niro there will be a challenge. But I think Downey Jr. is due as well. He's loved within the industry. He's come close a lot, hasn't won. He got nominated for Tropic Thunder, Best Supporting Actor, didn't win.
Yeah, which is
so
hilarious.
Now he's back. Yeah, I know, right? But now he's back, and the documentary he made last year about his father, I thought was tremendous. Didn't get nominated. Everyone thought it was a snub. And his father was so huge in the industry as well. So I think, I love what Gosling did, and I'm here for the 4-1 odds, and I hope he wins based off of taking 4-1 odds.
Of course.
But I think Downey Jr. is going to be the rightful winner for this market. So, take Gosling, take De Niro if you want for value, but I think Downey Jr. is definitely winning this category.
Definitely. The only other one that I might bet on value is Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, not Glenn Howerton, unfortunately. But Mark Ruffalo, because there's going to be two people there's not going to be two people nominated, but they have two possible nominations for Poor Things, and that's Mark Ruffalo and William Dafoe. And Mark Ruffalo is currently at 6-1. Dafoe is at 10-1. But I'm hearing a lot more about Mark Ruffalo. And again, pretense, we haven't seen this movie yet, so we can't say who has the better performance. But it does feel like Mark Ruffalo's out there, sort of on the pavement. He was on Hot Ones, which is always this person definitely wants an award. But at 6-1, he got jumped by Charles Melton because obviously May December is out right now on Netflix. So it's getting that little he sort of slid back a little bit. I like him at 6-1. Again, that's more of one of the more long shot picks for sure, but it's one of those sort of sneaky movies that's still out there that might just take over for the last 3 months. And for Best Picture, I don't think that helps, but definitely for the awards for the individual awards like Best Actor, Best Actress, might hold some weight. So I would maybe look at that. At the moment at 6-1, maybe just a little sprinkle, but that's one that I have
long shots. Real quick, Matt Damon, Oppenheimer, 40-1. I know we talked about Oppenheimer already. Glenn Howerton, I know brought up Blackberry. Dominic Sessa, 20-1 holdovers. And then you're also looking at maybe some guys like Jeremy Allen White, Iron Claw, 100-1. So there are some value names out there that could get that fifth nomination spot, but not actually win. Again, we're going to go to the Brian Tyree analogy from last year, where it's like, oh, it's so wonderful that this long shot is getting recognition by the Academy. You're not going to win, but enjoy your night. It's kind of one of those things. So those names I just rattled off would feel to fit that bill the best.
Yeah, it's like have fun on the trail. So we'll go over director just really quick, just to round out sort of the big ones.
Hold on. Supporting actress, America Ferrera, yay or nay? Because she's getting some nominations, and I say no.
She is. Let me see what we got here.
I think it's 20-1. And, America Ferrera, love you in Dumb Money. She was excellent in Dumb Money. I actually thought she was better possibly in Dumb Money than she was in Barbie. That's just a personal opinion. But I think she got, the Critics' Choice. She got a Critics' Choice nomination for Best Supporting Actress. I think she needs to be in the conversation. I don't want her to be. I don't hate her or anything. I just don't think it's as strong as some of the others.
Yeah, I'm just surprised with all the noise, not the noise, but the push for Air to have nominations, which I think is kind of weird, which is where I would put Barbie's nominations in. Like instead of putting like Viola Davis, who was great, she was great in Air. It just feels like Barbie would take over that space for those popular movies, but they're really pushing it. So Divine Joy Randolph is currently the favorite, minus 140, who just it's done. It's not done.
Can we brag?
Oh
Can
my
we
God, we
brag
called
already?
it.
2 weeks ago, our first episode, we said take her at plus 160.
Yeah.
She's minus 140.
She was
now,
just
so.
absolutely fantastic. It's
Go.
crazy, but yeah. So I really like. I think she's gonna win. But I think America Ferrera is gonna sneak in? It's
a nomination.
You have Emily Blunt sitting out there, Daniela Brooks for Color Purple,
I think Julianne Moore is going to get something too for May, December.
I hope not.
I think if May, December gets anything, it might be her or Charles Melton. Yeah.
No, I'd say Charles Melton over Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore was terrible. I hated that.
Jodie Foster might get in. Rachel McAdams might get in. I think Vanessa Kirby might get in for Napoleon.
I think Jodie Foster was awesome in Naiad. I liked her more than I forget the other.
And then Annette Bening. Oh wow.
Hot
take.
I really liked.
I really liked the Naiad show.
She was just.
Do we have to be swimming when we do that?
I know that'd be really funny. Annette Bening just making the weird faces in the water. I was like, is it really that hard to swim in water? I guess. I mean, she was swimming from Cuba to Florida. So yes,
as you said, you're more than welcome to find out.
No, I'm good. But I just do think Jodie Foster. I really like Jodie Foster more than Annette Bening.
I could see her getting a nomination. Sure. Absolutely. I think Rachel McAdams for me is kind of the dark horse here, and Vanessa Kirby as well. They're both getting 40-1 odds.
Out of nowhere, Rachel McAdams is getting all of this, this hype. She was snubbed, I believe, for either the Globes or Critics' Choice. I think people really wanted her in, and she didn't get in. But 40-1, maybe not.
Kirby, yeah.
Yeah, I think Napoleon's kind of a divisive movie, so I don't know if Vanessa Kirby's going to get in. Although she was great in it, loved her. This is a tough category. It's gonna be, it's gonna be very interesting to see who gets nominated. But it's
gonna be interesting to see who loses to Randolph in this category.
Essentially, that's all we're talking about. Which, unless they give us, odds to get an Academy Awards nomination, doesn't matter. So let's talk about Best Director just really quick, because she has to be in the conversation. Greta Gerwig, she's 9-1 right now. The overarching favorite is Christopher Nolan, minus 300 today. He's going up, an extra, extra couple of points every time we do one of these. Any chance she gets nominated in this category, and any chance to win?
100% I think she gets nominated. Her name is littered all over these precursor show award nominations, the Golden Globes, the Critics' Choice, the St. Louis Critics' Choice, the Venice Critics' Choice, the Antarctica, you just name it. She's getting nominated at it. And I think it's interesting. Her odds have gone from 10-1 to 7-1 to 9-1. So they're kind of fluctuating. And I say take advantage of it. Get the 9-1 holiday discount on Greta Gerwig.
Right.
I think there's a chance now I know Nolan is minus 300 and he's probably going to win. But if there is someone out there that could dethrone Nolan, I think Scorsese's one, but I think the other would be Gerwig. And I think the reasons for Gerwig are very, very, valid. She's buddy with the Academy. Mm-hmm. The movie deals with feminism, and it deals with an issue that you brought up a lot. The Academy likes to reward these movies that deal with issues in, modern time. So and I think the biggest thing is she broke the box office record.
That's right. That's the one.
So I think on paper, you look at Greta Gerwig's resume and you say, why wouldn't I take 9-1 odds on this? She absolutely has a chance. Look, Brock Lesnar beat Undertaker at WrestleMania to end his streak, so it's possible.
Oh my God. Nerd alert. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't have the glasses today.
I think what's going to be interesting is, do they put Greta Gerwig in or Celia Song, which a lot of people really enjoyed Celia Song's. I think this is her first film, Past Lives. She's 10-1. And again, we may have not enjoyed it that much, but we understand how A24 works. They really push for their directors to get in, and this seems like the movie that they're really pushing. So it'll be interesting. But I think she should be nominated, but I don't think she's going to beat my guy, Chuck Nolan. I'm going to call him Chuck Nolan from now on. So let's move down to the awards that we are more interested in for Barbie. Let's talk about cinematography. That's sort of like the next big one that's down on the list. So some people were not understanding why they got nominated for Best Cinematography at, I believe, the Globes or the Critics' Choice. But I think the cinematography is quite good, and I think the contrast of Barbie world to the real world is really, really important to the film. And how do you think they stack up? Do you think they should be nominated, and any chance of winning in cinematography?
So cinematography, I mean, it's going to be a loaded field. I just got done with the Iron Claw. That was terrific. As I kind of scroll through these rankings, you have Killers of the Flower Moon, you have The Holdovers, Oppenheimer, The Killer, Godzilla -1, Asteroid City. It's a long list. I think Barbie could get nominated. I don't think it's going to win Best Cinematography, though.
No.
I do think it could get a nomination, though, because I mean, this is such a huge crop of contenders that literally you're just plucking names out left and right.
Yeah.
I think there's a few standout films like Oppenheimer and The Iron Claw, but for me, Barbie's not one of those standouts, but for me, it's good enough to get a nomination.
I think, yeah, that's a really well way of putting it. It's just it's worth putting in the conversation,
Yes.
just of how unique it looks in Barbie World. Just Barbie World alone looks cool. But yeah, Oppenheimer with Hoytema Van Hoytema. I always have to pause and say it. I think he's going to be the winner just because it does look visually stunning and what they do is amazing. Kills of the Flower Moon, I think, is another really good choice. But then it gets down, interesting. Poor Things, Maestro. Maestro is shot in black and white. We've had conversations about things being shot in black and white. So I think
I like the Iron Claw too.
Exactly. Is Iron Claw in black and white?
Not all of it.
But parts.
But there are exactly, and I think you brought up the point of using black and white to also differentiate time periods, which I think Oppenheimer did.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Barbie might sneak in, and I think it deserves to be one of the nominees. But again, I don't think it's going to win. So Variety has Saltburn in there. That's sort of like the different one from what I'm talking about. I have them at 11. Yeah, I feel like Saltburn, I heard somebody say this, is going to be the Don't Worry Darling of this year, where it has a lot of buzz, a lot of push, but I don't think it's going to get nominated. No.
Yeah, I'm actually with that. I think, if we get to Saltburn, we can talk more about it. But I think Saltburn for me was a very good film from Emerald Fennell, who, if you've seen Promising Young Woman, you can only imagine what Saltburn's like. But I don't think it's as good as Promising Young Woman. I do think the standout was also the two main actors, Jacob Elordi and Barry Keoghan. So
for sure.
And I think it's going to be a stretch that either of them get nominations. So we'll see.
So let's go back to what we started kind of the whole show with, and that is production design. So we were talking about production design. I think it gets nominated, especially because of the throwback 1950s style, which is very like golden era of cinema. And I think you get rewarded for doing that, for shooting on sound stages and shooting with practical effects the way that it looks, sort of like Singing in the Rain, so, that kind of era. And right now in Variety, they do have Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Napoleon, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Barbie. Those are out of order, obviously, but they do have Barbie nominated. Do you think it has a good chance in production design?
Well, I sure hope so, because I have it number one.
Oh, good.
I have it number one. I have Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Godzilla -1, and Napoleon are my top 5. I can go ahead and tell you right now, Wonka, for me, is going to get in. I'll have to digest it a little bit more in terms of where I want to rank it. But for me, Wonka might actually be sitting at the top of this list when it's all said and done. So I think Barbie has a very good chance of not only getting a nomination, I think it has a very good chance of winning this category.
So to make you feel better, so in Variety, I listed the top 5. The one that's right next to it, next in line to be nominated, is Wonka. It's Maestro and Wonka are
the production design for Wonka. I mean, if you can only imagine what they did with the old one with Gene Wilder, and now you've modernized it, and you have a wonderful musical and an ensemble cast that goes from Timothée Chalamet to Olivia Colman to Michael Keegan Key or Keegan.
I know. What you
always get them mixed up. Yeah, him and Jordan Peele. So you have all these wonderful actors and actresses. You have modernized technology now. Think about the production design with that world. It's truly phenomenal. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Wonka got in, but that's awesome. Barbie for me is right now number one, but that might change after this show and I digest Wonka a little bit further.
It's all good. They have it currently second to Poor Things, which again, it's so hard to judge these when we haven't seen them yet. So we're doing our best. Poor Things just looks, unique and different. I'm not a huge fan of that type of world, but I understand how, the Academy thinks. I think Oppenheimer should win all the awards. The only thing I think that Oppenheimer really brings to the table in sort of production design is really the realness that the world feels like of the 1940s. And also I did read that they actually had to build the entire town of Los Alamos. So they actually took out like 15 shooting days of the budget so they can actually build a real town. So that's always interesting little nuggets to learn with this long of a buildup.
And then there's
Yeah.
two other movies for production design that I think are worth shouting out. We've mentioned one of them already. That's Saltburn. The entire movie setting is in the title of the film, and the production design of that is, it needs to be flawless. And then also Asteroid City. We've talked about the production design of Asteroid City multiple times, so we don't need to get into that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like where you're at with Barbie. It'll be interested once these get shortlisted and then get nominated. But I think this is going to be a very fun category this year, just because there's so many high quality films being made. I think that's a really fun thing to check out. So let's jump over to the controversial topic for Barbie, and that is screenplay. So
screenplay.
Where do we? Oh,
you're going to say costume design?
Yeah, I know, very controversial. It's like you couldn't wear that pink in the summer. But for originals, so right now it's actually being categorized in the original screenplay category, which that's what it's running for. Which I think it's important to note that you can run for something in a certain category, just like Best Actor or Best Supporting Actress, but the Academy does have the ability to say, no, you are more, of a supporting actor than a lead actor. They don't like to do that, but this is one of those interesting things. So let's talk original screenplay. That's where it's nominated in. A couple of the other contenders in that category are The Holdovers, May December, Past Lives, Anatomy of the Fall. What else do we have? So that's the top five.
I have May December ranked 12th. I don't know how that.
It's so weird. I don't understand why May December is not good. But a couple of the other ones would be like Maestro, Air, The Boy and the Heron is also in the short list.
Saltburn, The Boy and the Heron, Napoleon, The Iron Claw, Rustin. Just to name a few.
I see that too. Yeah. So it's an interesting category this year, but man, I think the only one that there's three. I think there's three realistic winners here. One of them is Barbie. Yes. The other one is Holdovers, because I really enjoyed Holdovers. Yes. The way that they captured the Northeast in sort of the '60s boarding school era, and then Past Lives. Past Lives, I think
I'm with you on that.
So much of the movie is actually in Korean, which is kind of funny. But I think that the way that they build the relationship that is sort of long distance, if you will, is very real. It feels very much like something would that's something would happen if you had an online relationship with a real person. But I think it's interesting. I think those three are going to be unique. I enjoy Barbie. I want Barbie to win something, and I think it might have a shot. But I think those are the three realistic winners.
I think the best original screenplay this year is 1001, personally. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to get nominated. It certainly won't win. But I'm here to say that it was the best original screenplay on the year. So yeah. I also want to say that I was stunned because I was reading a lot about this movie on Netflix called Fair Play, and I watched it, and now I know why it's getting best original screenplay. Forecasting, not that it's going to get nominated, but I have it at 16, right under Air. So I just think between Fair Play and 1001, there's some good original screenplays out there that are not heavy hitter names. And they're probably not going to get nominated, but I think it just goes to tell you, we've sat here multiple times and we've said the adapted screenplay category is a monster category. I'm starting to see the original screenplay now as having a ton of depth in it too. So I don't know if Barbie's going to win. I think it is I'm right there with you. All three of those movies you named, like a lock. I think those are locks for sure. Past Lives, Barbie, and what was the other one you named?
Holdovers, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think I would argue Boy and Heron might get in as well as the original screenplay.
Yeah, in that one, I only see three, rock solid, they're going to get nominated. There's 2 extra spots. So I think Boy and the Heron could definitely get in. It also can get Hayao Miyazaki. I think I said his name right.
May December is going to get one of those 5
It better
spots.
not.
Even though we don't want it to.
God, it better
Let's
not.
just assume it does. Then you have 4, and then Boy Heron, 1001. That leaves one spot open for a potential.
Ooh,
You know,
you have
one that
Maestro.
people aren't expecting. Oh, Maestro's getting in. God, 1001's not getting in. What are we doing,
it's
Brian?
tough, dude. It's tough. And you have Air, and then Air has been like sponsoring everything on Variety right now. So that's
I'll be interested to see what the odds are, because I think if Barbie comes out at plus value, just take it. Don't even think about it. Just take it.
Just take it for safety.
If it comes out at minus 110, I don't know if I would take that.
Yeah, I'd go the other way. Yeah, for sure. But to make you feel good, so you had Fair Play ranked 16th on your list.
Yes, 16th.
Variety has it ranked 14th on their list. So
Nice.
look how close you are. It's almost like when you're building a model for sports. You don't want it to be exactly on it, but you want it to be somewhere kind of close.
Do they have 1001 anywhere on their effing list?
Oh man, I just clicked
anywhere.
I just clicked off of it. Let's see. Let's go back.
Go back. That's fine. This is important because 1001 is one of the top 5 movies for me this year.
Let's see.
So
also,
I'm really irritated.
Yes, it is there. It is ranked 26th on their list, but that is better than
take it.
That's better than the all eligible titles, which is sort of like just saying you showed up for work that day.
That's one vote away, Brian, from making the AP top 25. So they're getting there. They're inching their
right
way.
There. They're sort of like a mid-major. So, man, just adapted screenplay is just going to look... right? Just a quick tangent. Poor Things right now is projected to be the winner in adapted screenplay. If it comes out that Poor Things is the favorite, I am putting not all my money on it, but putting a lot of money on Oppenheimer. Really,
I thought you were going to say Spider-Man.
Okay, let's relax. Okay, moving on before we get over there. So let's talk hair and costumes. So this is a category we think is going to do well in. Let me actually just get to the possible nominees. So we'll start with costume design. So in costume design, Barbie is sort of the front running. It looks like it's going to be the front running favorite, which it's important for people to note. A lot of these sort of lower categories below the line do not have odds yet, which we should be coming soon once we get nominations, which I believe is in January. But it's important to know kind of where they sit. So Barbie right now is projected to probably be the winner in this category, but we also have the color purple, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, and then Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret is still hanging around in costume design.
Wow, I have that at 11 right now.
Ooh, interesting. So it's always fun to see sort of your differences, but I think this is one. I think this is one that it's sort of like a telegraph thing. Like, how could Barbie, with all of her costumes in the real world,
occupations, and
all of her,
all of
President
her work. Barbie, dentist Barbie,
just all of her great works that she does. It's just amazing. How can it not be nominated and win?
Yeah.
So I think it's probably going to come out minus money. What do you think?
Probably. I don't know if I'll take it though, because I do think costumes are. I think it's close. Like, you and I think Barbie should win and is number 1, and Variety thinks it's number 1. That doesn't mean it's going to win.
Exactly.
I think you have to look good and hard at Napoleon, which I have at 3.
Yeah. Period.
Killers of the Flower Moon, which I have at 2.
Another period.
And Iron Claw, which I have at 4. Guardians of the Galaxy could be a sneaker as well. that's kind of like my top 5 right now. I think Oppenheimer's right there. Your movie. Chevalier. Little Mermaid, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. This, I think the top 10 to 15 are very neck and neck, but for me, I think Barbie is the standout. So minus value, I wouldn't be surprised.
For sure. Also, Wonka is next in line at rank number 8.
I should have done my Wonka rankings, then hopped on and recorded. But I do like Wonka's costume design. Again, just go watch the trailer and you can see all the costume
just looks cool. I like that. I just like the whole aesthetic of what Wonka's doing. And the way Timothée Chalamet wears it is just so perfect with the top hat. I like it.
And keep in mind the director's from Paddington. And I think what this director has done very well with Paddington and this film in particular is he's really made it jump off the page and onto the screen. And I think that's through the production and the costume designs.
100%. Also, Poor Things, again, might sneak in for costume design because there's lots of costumes in that film. And it's sort of like it's a different world, 100%. It sort of just feels like an adaptation of a book. So that, that might have some credence, but it'll be interesting. Yeah. Let's talk about editing. We kind of jumped away from hair because it was next on the... Oh, actually, let's go to hair. It makes more sense to do that with costumes. So how do we feel we're going to do in makeup and hairstyling? Right now, it looks like they are nominated, but the leader at the moment, at least what Variety is saying, is Maestro. So what do we think?
Wow.
So actually, I'll list this on. So we have Barbie, Ferrari, Maestro, Poor Things, and the fifth one. Can you guess what it is? It's a movie that you've mentioned already.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Volume
Exactly.
3.
You got
Yeah.
it.
It should get nominated for hairstyle. Quite frankly, Guardians of the Galaxy, the entire saga is long overdue for a hairstyle makeup nomination. I mean,
Yeah.
from the first movie, I think it transcended a lot in terms of using these space characters in the way that James Gunn did. With that said, Barbie for me, I have at number 3. So I do agree it's going to get nominated. I don't think it's going to win, though. I think Oppenheimer, honestly, for me, was the best hairstyle makeup. But I also have Guardians at number 2, and then I have Barbie at 3. So nomination, yes. Win, that's going to be tough. I think if it wins, it will be more the hairstyle than the makeup.
I agree. Yeah, I think so too. Just because, again, I think prosthetics is always a big part of this as well. If you have a movie that has lots of prosthetics included in the hairstyle and makeup, is important. And Maestro, has a lot of time jumps. So not just for Bradley Cooper's character Bernstein, but also the supporting character as well. So,
and to that, you know what movie did really well with time jumps in that regard was The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and it slaughtered best makeup and hairstyle.
That's right.
And I believe Jessica Chastain said they had like over 500 different wigs and makeups for her, transition from young Tammy Faye to older Tammy Faye. And it dominated. I mean, I think it was minus 400 by the time Oscars night rolled around.
So this is this is a funny one that I heard from one of our handicappers at VSiN. He doesn't do a lot of Oscar handicapping, but
who does?
Said,
it's just you and me.
Yeah, just you and me. But this was the year that Jessica Chastain won, and he said that if somebody wins Best Makeup and Hairstyling, they will go on to win typically Best Actress or Best Actor, whichever one. So, which is kind of fun.
That's happened the last 2 years, though, right? Brendan Fraser and The Whale.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh, dude, I didn't even think about that one. So he's right. Out of the last 2 years. Yeah. So Barbie's nominated. Poor Things is nominated. So if Emma Stone and Margot Robbie are nominated, this could be kind of like a correlation that if you think Emma Stone's going to win, you should bet Poor Things. If you think Margot Robbie's going to win, you should bet.
I don't hate that.
You should bet Barbie. Only thing that's thrown out there is though, Kills the Flower Moon is on the kind of on the brink of making hair and makeup.
See where I have it ranked. Let me see. I have Killers ranked 10. Yeah,
which is in that sort of section that they said. So it'll be interesting. I've heard from a lot of people who've watched Killers of the Flower Moon. Just a quick tangent that Lily Gladstone basically disappears from the movie and isn't doing anything. She's laying in a bed, which I disagree. It's like there's a lot of stuff happening as she's laying in bed.
I texted you, Brian. Yeah, I texted Brian that great movie, Killers of the Flower Moon, even if Lily Gladstone's laying in a bed for 2 hours. I was just kidding. I was being funny.
It's funny. But I mean, hey,
like great,
it's kind of a point. It's a good point you got. So now let's do editing.
Let me real quick say for the hairstyle real quick. Again, I'm going to continue to beat my chest with this movie and this specific category. They cloned Tyrone. It's got a 92 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's on Netflix. Jamie Foxx, no one's talking about it, and I just think the hairstyle in that is phenomenal. So I just want to throw that out there. Just get it on the record again.
Do it on the record. That's important. It's important when we go back and do these. We can just edit the way that we said it. We said it. So film editing. Editing is an important one. I do think this is going to go one direction, but that's just me. But Barbie is nominated here. So Barbie, projected to be nominated. So Barbie, The Holdovers, Maestro, Poor Things, and good old Oppenheimer.
I'm glad The Holdovers is in there. I like that. I have them at 6 right now.
Yeah, it's good.
Great movie.
So, what do we think Barbie's chances are in editing?
Tough. I got it at 9. I think it could get in. I don't think it wins. I think you're looking at a lot. I think you're looking at Killers of the Flower Moon. I think you're looking at Saltburn, The Holdovers, The Killer, Spider-Man, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, May, December. I know you and I really didn't like that, but I did think the film editing was very crisp in that. So I think it's not going to win Barbie, and I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't get nominated. Or if it does get nominated. It wouldn't surprise me either way, but I don't think it's going to win.
Yeah, and currently Killers of the Flower Moon is sitting in 6th, just outside of the nominations. But I think it kicks somebody out. It's going to kick out.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's going to kick out Holdovers. It might kick out Barbie, to be honest. Like that feels like one that might be kicked out because the person who actually edited Killers of the Flower Moon, 1 second, make sure we didn't sneeze. She's Thelma Schoonemaker, and she's been working with Martin Scorsese ever since Goodfellas, and maybe even before then. So she's quite established. And to make a
Right.
3-hour, 3.5-hour film, just
I know.
beautifully the way it looks.
And the way it jumped from time to time, and no spoiler alerts here, but something that happens at the very beginning of the movie that has already been answered and explained. They then show what happened at the end of the movie. And I always say this with movies that jump from time to time. The film editing is so important because it's so easy to lose track of where you are in the story. So I'm with you on that. I think Killers knocks someone out. I have Killers at number 3 right now. So I'm with you.
So typically with film editing, I think it's important to note that when figuring out who Best Picture is, they are correlated typically. So whoever wins Best Film Editing typically will go on to win Best Picture. That's usually a correlated category. So this is an important category in terms of the bigger picture, which again, this is, if we were live betting, it would be much, can you imagine if you could live bet the Oscars? That would be crazy. But that would be something to correlate.
That'd be wonderful.
I know, right? That'd be great.
Great.
But I do think Oppenheimer is going to win in Best Editing just, because of how it looks. It just looks, the way that they skip through time is, very easy and seamless for me, because I think, like you said, the jump engine, when they jump times, it can be, jarring, but if you can do it well, I think it really shortlists your movie for success. So that's why I do think Oppenheimer may win, just because of the seamless transitions from time jumps. So let's go ahead and talk about our favorite category, Best Song. So
there we go.
Best Song, which a lot of people who pontificate and try to talk about Best Song. Oh, actually, we wanted to talk about something else. I totally forgot it. I'm a very bad co-host. Which do we want to talk about, Thom?
We can get to it later. We can do visual effects later if you want.
No, let's do visual effects now.
I know you got a lot to say about Oppenheimer getting left off the top 20 list. Let's do
visual effects now. Let's just do it now.
Okay.
I want to finish up with our strong category. So,
do you want to know where I have Barbie ranked in visual effects? 13, and that includes 1, 2, 3 movies I had ahead of it that did not get shortlisted for visual effects. One of which is Oppenheimer. I don't think Barbie wins visual effects. It might, but I don't think it should.
So again, Thom, just your ranking skills. I just want you to know your ranking skills are top notch. You want to know why?
Thank you. Because I had Oppenheimer number 1.
Because you had Barbie number 13. Variety has them ranked 13th.
Wow. So lucky number 13, right?
Yeah, you're on it.
Buy a lottery ticket.
That's great. So
you know what I have number 2?
Oh yeah, what's number 2?
Godzilla -1. Absolutely fantastic.
That movie's great. I've heard that movie's fantastic. So it
deserves every bit of 97% of Rotten Tomatoes that it's getting. It is that good.
Solid. So let's talk about it. So it came out the other day. It came out maybe a week from this recording, and that was the shortlist for visual effects. And a lot of people, and this is the thing with Oppenheimer and Christopher Nolan films, is that they're made with practical effects, which I believe are, effects that are visual because you see it on a screen. But I guess this is kind of the thing, is that this has become sort of like the CGI award to get a lot of the Marvel movies in, a lot of the DC movies in, movies that have a lot of, computer-generated effects. And it was left off the list because a lot of the effects are practical. So currently, the predicted nominees are The Creator, very interesting, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, Transformers Rise of the Beast, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is very interesting because it's nominated, and because it's animated, not nominated, animated, and then Rebel Moon Part 1, which hasn't been released yet. It's a Netflix film. So
I'll get to that eventually.
That'll be interesting. But I think the one that the Rebel Moon knocked off was Indiana Jones: Dial of Destiny.
Oh wow!
If I'm just kind of guessing what was probably knocked off. So where do we sit on this?
I agree with some of those. I think Mission Impossible is a top 5 one for me at least. I think The Marvels is a top 5 one for me at least. And I think the Academy got some practical movies in there. I think Killers of the Flower Moon and Past Lives. I don't know how Past Lives got on there. I have them at number 17 actually. So I think honestly, and I got a text message from one of my buddies that said that I'm not stunned Oppenheimer didn't make the top 20 because there is only 20 minutes of visual effects in the 3-hour movie. And I don't agree with that. I think there was a lot of visual effects throughout the movie. I think for a lot of people, though, that view this is what you just said, is computer generation. And that's not always the case, though. Top Gun Maverick last year won, and that was more practical effects than it was anything. Just like I think Mission Impossible is, ironically, they're both Tom Cruise action movies.
Right.
So I think like there's some merit to what you're saying, but at the same time, I look at this list and they do have some practicals. But I think I'm with you in the regard that this year feels more CG heavy than the past 2 or 3 years have been. Like they've been leaning more practical. And then this top 20 list came out, and 15 of the 20 are computer generated visual effects. So I kind of see what you're saying. I think it depends on the nominations. You got things like Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Past Lives that are a little bit more practical. I'm not sure Barbie gets in because of that and what you're saying, because a lot of the things that they have here are computer generated. And I personally think Godzilla -1 is
and they actually have it. They do have it
should
on
be the
their.
favorite.
They have it in their top 20 list, which is important. Which is kind of funny that I don't know how we went on to talking about Barbie and visual effects because I just wanted to talk about Oppenheimer.
I do think the scene with the Ken off with like the stars and stuff like that's kind
great.
of visual, and then also them traveling from Barbie Land to the real world. Maybe it's that's more practical visual effects that not computer generated by any means, but there are some in Barbie where they do that. So
it's adding up
the car flip.
Of
that.
course. It's adding up the crafts. And I watched the 60 Minutes with Greta Gerwig, and she showed how they did that shot of, the practical way that they did it in the car, in the boat, over the water. It was very, very interesting. Very old school, like classic Hollywood. So let's jump on to the one that we think Barbie will contend in the best, and that is best song. Well, yes, we missed a score. Do you think they're going to make this? Do you think they're going to have best original score?
I think they might. I mean, Mark Ronson did the score. It's been nominated at some other award shows already. So I think Barbie has a good chance of getting into the best score category.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting category, which I think I know who's going to win, but we'll see.
It's a heavy category. There's a lot. There's about 50 movies that could get nominated. It's a really high quality category this year.
So let's go to best song. We've put it off long enough. This is what the people came for. So best song. It looks like Barbie's going to have at least 2 nominations, maybe 3, but definitely 2 nominations. Yeah. And the one that I think is, what I think is going to be the number one choice is What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish and Phineas, which I believe is her brother. And then the other one would be I'm Just Ken, which is by Mark Ronson and Andrew Wyatt. Then we also have Flamin' Hot. And then we also have Rustin from Rustin. Lenny Kravitz is the one who performs that. And then She Came to Me, which is Addicted to Romance by Bruce Springsteen, which, interesting. A lot of heavy hitters.
But it's a heavy category. Yeah.
I've also heard that this is another category where they just want to get more famous people. That's why we have Lenny Kravitz, Bruce Springsteen, Diane Warren, and then we also have, of course...
In Sync.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that we also
Dua
have...
Lipa, Jack Black, Dolly Parton...
Could you imagine if they had, Peaches?
This is not going to be an easy category. I like there are heavy hitter names everywhere. Halle Bailey. I'm trying to say Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Halle Bailey. I just think this is a very deep list of top performing musicians. And, to put it in perspective, Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift didn't get nominated last year, and they both had great songs. Billie Eilish for Turning Red and Taylor Swift for Where the Crawdads Sing. I look at this list, and I think I'm with you. I think the 2 that get in are going to be I'm Just Ken and What Was I Made For. I have What Was I Made For at number 3 and I'm Just Ken at number 5. So for me, they're in the top 5 right now. And then I have Dance the Night at 11, and I would not be surprised if Dance the Night gets a nomination. It's that good, and it's that catchy of a song. A very catchy song, won Song of the Year last year. So these catchy, upbeat songs can do well. I think 2, I'm with you. The potential for 3, I wouldn't argue. I think for sure it could get 3. Just for me, though, Jean-Baptiste, I think he is going to be tough to beat because he's got nominated for 11 Grammys. The documentary deals with him and his wife as he gets nominated for these Grammys. She's dealing with chemo and cancer. I think the musicians of the world and the musicians voting for this award are really going to be siding with Jean-Baptiste here, and I think he wins Best Song. Even though I think Eilish gets nominated, and I think she might open as the favorite, I just think Jean-Baptiste is going to win this award.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a hot take. We'll have to revisit that one though, like when it actually comes out for the nominations.
Go watch American Symphony whenever you have a chance. I know you don't do documentaries, but it's really good and it's on Netflix. And it's it's not long. So
I try to knock out documentaries. I watch The Crown all the time. So I think when we opened this up, when we did this a long time ago, I thought, what was I made for? When I first heard it, I was like, yep, that's the Academy. I was like, that's the Academy Award song. But you also said I'm Just Ken, which I was kind of on the fence about whether it would be good enough to have 2 Barbie nominations. And it is really good, just because once all these get hashed out and we start seeing all these other films come out, it really was, it's an important part of the film. It's actually in the climax of the movie, and it's performed by one of the leads. It's performed by Ryan Gosling. So I think this is an extremely fun category to bet in. What was I made for? I would say definitely worth being the favorite. I like that you're going for a long shot as well with Jean-Baptiste, and I like your angle that the musicians are the ones who vote for this award, and they might side on that side.
Yep.
And if I had to go with a long shot, I would probably only go just as long as I'm Just Ken, because I don't think Flamin' Hot's going to win. Rustin,
I'm not sure either. I don't think Road to Freedom, which is the Lenny Kravitz song, and I don't think Fire Inside are going to get nominated, personally. I think they're good songs.
Yeah.
I just think there's so much better songs out there. I think Am I Dreaming is going to be a contender for the first time by Hal Bailey. If she's going to be there for The Color Purple, I'm sure she might perform as well. And going to Peaches real quick, because it's such a short song. This feels like a Bruno song moment where like it doesn't get nominated, but they perform it at the Academy, and like you could see Jack Black dressed up as Bowser playing on the piano for a minute and a half. It's not going to get nominated, but they might perform Peaches,
and he would love to do that, I think.
He would do that in a heartbeat. So but anyway, it's going to be a tough one, I think, to get into. But I think Barbie gets 2 in there, and I don't think realistically I'm Just Ken wins. I'm Just Ken, I've said this a lot, Brian, it feels like Good Afternoon for me. It was fun. It looked great. Probably better on stage than the actual song itself, but not enough to win, I don't think, for me.
No, I think you're good with that. If I had to pick between those 2 movies, What Was I Made For is what I would say, because that's the one I chose. But the odds are going to open up where it's the favorite and doesn't have any value. So I'm just looking at just sort of by association. But I really like Dance the Night Away. I think that's the best actual song from the movie.
That's a great song.
I've actually just like listened to that just on a normal day.
Who doesn't?
I also just love Dua Lipa. So hopefully she gets nominated so she can go and she can perform it. She looks great. I would love to see her at the Academy Awards. But anyways, I think we made our way through the entire Barbie list. We ended up doing Oppenheimer and Barbie, obviously separately, but very close together. Because they're so important to this, award season. And they're both splashy titles. One of them is, an actual like critical darling and it made a lot of money. And the other one's Barbie, which, mixed for some people, but definitely a cultural phenomenon.
I've heard a lot of mixed reviews from people. I've heard it's the greatest movie. I've heard, how is it being nominated?
Yeah, once the dust settled, everyone was like, it wasn't actually a good movie. So I think it's interesting. So I think this will be our 2 longest podcast. So if you guys listen to us on YouTube or listen to us on our podcast, thank you. We know these are very long sometimes, but it's all with, we want to make sure we break all these down enough so you guys can get the best information possible. So
this is us nerding out.
Exactly. So Thom, any parting words before we take off?
Not really. I guess since this is a betting show, go ahead. I think Gerwig 9-1 is fine. Gosling 4-1 is fine. Robbie 14-1 is definitely fine for the value you're getting there. Of those, though, I think Gosling has the best chance to win, but I don't see them winning the heavyweight awards. So
yeah, I think Gosling has the best shot in terms of the big awards.
It's tough.
It's tough
because if you give Gosling the award, not Margot, I think there's a lot there. So
that would be tough. That would definitely be tough. But yeah, definitely loaded categories for Best Actress, which is where Margot Robbie would be contending. Same thing with Best Director and Best Picture, obviously. So For Thom, thank you so much for listening and being with us, Thom. And then also, this was the Box Office Bets show where we bet on the Oscars. Thank you so much for listening. Check us out on all of our podcasts if you're listening to us on YouTube. And if you are listening to us on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe so you can get a notification for when you get the next review. So again, I'm Brian Ortega. That's Thom Cunningham. Have a great day.
Cheers.